Well, Mr. President, with a lot's going on today, I guess you knew about the looks to be a terrorist attack over at Old Dominion University. It looks to be a guy that was in jail, according to reports, he was a naturalized citizen from Sierra Leone, convicted in 2017 of providing support for ISIS, and then he goes and commits this murder today.
Yep.
Followed by one in Michigan. They attack a synagogue. They plow into a building of a preschool entrance where 140 kids are inside. Thankfully, some great security forces were able to take this guy down. It looks like he's from Dearborn, Michigan, and it looks like his car's registered to someone in Lebanon. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, it's been going on for a long time. It's a disgrace. They're sick. They're really demented people. And has been going on for a long time. They come into the country, they sneak in. You know, we have a solid border now. We have a border that's 100%. 9 months, nobody coming in. But they came in, and they came in a lot through Biden, and they came in through other presidents, frankly. And it's a disgrace. But what we took in over the last 4 years preceding my taking, because we had that border pretty well wrapped up within 3 months. But and he could have done the same thing. We took in 25 million people, and many of those people came from bad places. So it's a shame. When you hear about these things, it's a shame. Very sad.
So then you see the attack in New York City, and 17 or an 18 and 19-year-old decide to make an IED and just throw it towards Gracie Mansion and get a piece of paper and say, this is about ISIS. So, I mean, how do you get into the mindset of this? How do you stop it?
They're sick people, and a lot of them were let in here. They shouldn't have been let in. Others are just bad. They go bad. Something wrong. There's something wrong there.
So
the genetics are not exactly. They're not exactly your genetic. It's one of those problems, Brian. It's a terrible thing, and it happens. And it happens too often.
So bringing up to today, there's a lot of Iranians, over 700, over 1,700 came to our border over the 4 years of President Biden. Over 700 are in. You mentioned the other day that you believe you know where the sleeper cells are, these Iranian sleeper cells. If you know where they are, can we start going offensively after them legally?
We're watching them very carefully. Got to be a little bit careful in a lot of ways. A lot of good people, too. It's like... That's the problem. You got a lot of good people, but we're watching them very, very carefully. We have them under watch. Now, when you say that, you say 1,700, could be a lot more than that came in, but nobody knows because you had so many coming through Biden where nobody has any idea where they came from, and nobody was asking where they came from.
I know, and you got the gotaways. Those are the ones who clearly didn't want to get caught, and you just get the back of their heads.
Those are the ones that oftentimes are the worst.
One of the big stories was the concern about Iran having one of those one-way suicide drones somewhere hitting in California. Are you worried about that? And if so, what will we do if that does happen?
I don't worry about it because if you did, you wouldn't be able to function, okay? So you can't worry. You have to do something, and we watch everything at a level that it's never been watched. Our country has never been watched over like this ever before. What Joe Biden did, and it wasn't probably him, I don't think he knew where he was, but what the people surrounding him allowed to happen to our country can never be ever forgotten again. From mental institutions they came, from drug dealers and murderers. Right. 11,888 murderers came into our country illegally. They came into our country and they let them in. They didn't even check. What's your name? What's your serial number? Give me a card. Give me something. No identification, which hopefully we're going to have with the Save America Act, which the Republicans have to get it done. Right. They all say they don't have the votes. They have to find the votes. That's what leadership's all about. But they came in with no identification, no nothing. They walk into our country. And look, that's why they lost their election in a landslide, frankly. One of the reasons.
But on the drone attack in California, is that real or is that verified? Did that cross your desk that is a legitimate concern?
Well, the first we heard about it was from Gavin Newsom, the incompetent governor of California.
He told you?
As he said, no, he announced it. It came out from him or his office. That's where we heard it first. He was talking about it. But he has learning disabilities, so I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know. He admitted he had learning disabilities. Somebody said, "Well, what's wrong with that?" I said, "That's okay, but not for the president." Right. The president can't have learning disability. If you have that, That's not a good thing.
Well, he did say he couldn't read, which I found astounding.
Well, he said much beyond that, and he said other things. I won't even get into it, but he said a whole pile of things. Nobody understands what he did that day.
Right.
I say he committed political suicide, but that interview was not good. On top of it, it showed he was a racist. So,
Yeah.
So,
I want to get back to that.
That was not a good. Hey, that was not a good interview.
That's his book tour. I don't think it's been a banner book tour for him, but we'll see what it does for 2028 because clearly he has his eyes on that. Can we talk about Iran for a second? Finally, we hear from the Supreme Leader in a long statement. We don't see him. He doesn't read the speech. They say he wrote the speech. First off, do you believe he's alive?
I think he probably is. I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form. Yeah.
What's your takeaway? I know he says that he's going to widen the war. He's going to continue to use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against you to end this war. He's got underwater drones to stop any of the ships going in and out. What's your message back to the new Supreme Leader?
Well, they've been doing a lot of talking, so he's going to have to put up. We'll have to see because we are decimating them. We've knocked out most of their missiles. We've knocked out many of their drones. We knocked out a lot of the manufacturing areas where they manufacture the missiles and now the drones. We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
So they are able to basically shut off the Strait of Hormuz. The word is that you're about ready to escort these oil tankers through. Is that true?
Well, we would do it if we needed to, but hopefully things are going to go very well. We're going to see what happens. A lot's going to be, we've already damaged them so badly, it would take years for them to ever rebuild. And we're going to be hitting them very hard over the next week.
So, but does it concern you that these tankers aren't getting through and the one that did get through made its way to China? I would think that maybe we'd be stopping these tankers that got through.
Well, you'll have to see what happens over the next. This just began. This is their new strategy. So you're going to have to watch, Brian, what's going to be happening over the next few days, and we'll see. We'll see how successful they are. But they're doing this as a last-ditch effort. Their Navy has been totally gone. It's as far as we know, it's just gone. They maybe have one ship. We're searching it out. It won't be around for long. But their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their leadership is gone. Their second leadership is gone. Now their third leadership is in trouble. And this is not somebody that the father even wanted. But I'm not gonna say, you were asking whether or not he's alive. A lot of people are trying to figure that one out. But we've done things that whether it's Venezuela or this, we've done things that nobody can believe. They are in such. Look at the missile attacks. The missile attacks are down to a trickle now compared to what they were. Now, they'll go all out because they hear me make that statement, but that's all right because they'll go all out. We have it covered. We have it guarded, and they'll have that fewer, they're down to a very small, relatively small number of missiles. Their drones are in a lot of trouble now because we're knocking out their manufacturing plants where they manufacture at a very fast clip.
So do you, right now the strait is not open, I know that, and you did a couple of things. You offered insurance for these ships to go through. No one seems to have taken you up on that. You also, I understand, you've released Strategic Oil Reserve to ease the oil shock that's happening right now, and so did 32 other nations, which is unprecedented. But do you believe you're going to suspend the Jones Act too? And if so, what would that do?
Well, it lets you take ships that are American-made and have them go around to different ports. It's a restrictive act. It's got some tremendous support in Congress, support for it, not to suspend it, but support for it, the Jones Act. But we'll take a look. We'll take a look at everything, and it's all going to work out. Look, we took an excursion. We had the greatest economy ever. We still do. And we have to do a little excursion to get rid of mad people, crazy people that want to have nuclear weapons. If we didn't do the hit with that Midnight Hammer, if we didn't have those beautiful B-2 bombers hit them so effectively, and the word is obliterate, and now everybody admits the word is obliterate. In fact, they're not even talking about opening that site. They were talking about going to a new site, if you can believe it. But if we didn't hit them with a B-2 bomber, it could be that Israel would not be around today.
And Mr. President, would you also say it's important to get the uranium that Steve Witkoff talked about, that they said they have over 400 kilograms of it? Is there some type of operation in place to grab it?
No, not at all, and we're not focused on that, but at some point we might be. Right now we're focused on knocking the hell out of their missiles and their drones.
Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Bahrain have been hit. Roughly. What has been your conversations that you feel comfortable relaying to our audience with the Gulf, with our Gulf allies?
We're very, very solid. The relationship, the unity is tremendous. I spoke to most of them today. They got hit, and nobody expected it. They were sort of staying away. And I don't want to say neutral. I think they've been very good for us, but they were more or less neutral, and all of a sudden they got hit, which shows you, look, what they wanted to do, what Iran wanted to do is take over the whole Middle East. And if we didn't stop them with the B-2 bombers, they would have done that. Think of it, all the things that we knocked out the first time and then the second time, if they had that now, they had so many missiles, we knocked the hell out of them the first time, and this time it's even much more so. This is a much more severe blow.
Right.
If they had all those missiles, they were looking to take over the entire Middle East, not just destroy Israel.
I believe they were making 200 a month rockets, and that would have protected what was going to be a reconstituted nuclear program. The Supreme Leader came out, Mr. President, and said, they're going to keep attacking the Gulf states until we leave, our American base, the American forces leave our presence from Qatar to UAE to Saudi Arabia. Are we going to leave?
Well, the Gulf states are doing a very good job in protecting themselves. They have great Patriot missiles, which are the defensive missiles that have knocked down virtually 100% of the time they use. They knock down whatever they're aimed at. They've been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable technology. Look, nobody has the technology or the weapons that we have, and the Patriots are an example of it. We have the Tomahawks. We have the Patriots. We have stuff that nobody's ever been able to produce, and they can't produce it like us. So we'll see how it all goes, Brian. I mean, it's going very well. We're way ahead of schedule, way ahead. We had no idea we'd be this far ahead. We've knocked out close to 90% of their missiles.
How important would it be to get out that besiege force, the thugs that walk the streets and the moral?
We could do
are we aiming for them?
No, these are bad people. They go out shooting protesters. You're a protester, they shoot you right through the head. This is an evil group of people. And if we had them have a nuclear weapon, they would use it and they wouldn't lose an ounce of sleep.
So yesterday, the prime minister, or the other day, said it's soon to the Iranian people. It's time for you to soon come back and take back your country when the time is right, and that time is soon. There's also a report that Israeli officials do not think the regime is ready to fall yet. What do you say to the Iranian people? Do you echo what the prime minister said, their time is soon to take back their own country?
Well, you just mentioned to me a group of people that go around with machine guns and shoot them down, and they say, if anybody protests, we're going to kill you in the streets. So I really think that's a big hurdle to climb for people that don't have weapons. I think it's a very big hurdle. So that it'll happen, but it probably will be maybe not immediately. Who's going to do that? They literally have people in the streets with machine guns, machine gunning people down if they want to protest, okay? So, that's a pretty big, that's a pretty high standard to say, I want to go and protest.
Right.
And so I would understand that. And I would think Bibi would understand that, too.
Are you astounded?
He didn't say he's doing it right now. Time will go by. They're going to be in worse shape as time goes by. We're hitting them very hard. We have unlimited ammunition. We have of the high level and medium level, the medium and medium high level, we have virtually unlimited ammunition. And we're using it. We're using it. We can go forever.
Mr. President, do you believe that when the fighting stops, that the rest of the Gulf states will join the Abraham Accords? Is it closer than ever? Has Iran's action against the Gulf states made your pitch easier to digest for these Gulf states, knowing that it's clear now Israel's not the problem, Iran is?
Yeah, it's made it much easier because they have never been in condition like they are right now. They're putting up a wonderful front. They're saying things, but they are devastated when you take a look at what we know. And remember this, we're being nice. I could take out things within the next hour. We could hang up in 1 hour. You'd be reading about taking out nuclear power plants or power plants that creates the electricity, that creates the water. They have desalinization all over the place. We could do things that would be so bad they could literally never rebuild as a nation again. and we're trying to be nice about it. We're not doing it. Now, they'll go around and shoot civilians all over the place, but we don't do that. But we could take out elements of what they have in terms of infrastructure. They would virtually never be able, time wouldn't matter, never be able to reproduce it. And so far, we've chosen not to do that. But we have hit them so hard. I mean, they have virtually no military left. They do have the thugs walking across, and when they're caught, they will be tried and executed when those thugs are caught. And we have them on tape who they are, and they better turn in their guns. But, we have tapes of some of these people that go around shooting the protesters, maybe all of them, when we add it all up. And they're going to have a big problem after this is all
Have they been targeted yet?
I don't want to say that. But we have a lot of tape, and we have a lot of people. We know exactly what they look like. And they're going out, and they're shooting protesters for just literally standing, not for doing anything, for standing on the street. They're killing people. And prior to this starting, they killed 32,000 people.
So the year was 1988. This future president, Donald Trump, was selling a book called The Art of the Deal. He gave an interview to a British newspaper, at which time you talked about Iran. You said we have to win back respect for America on the world stage, and you had stern words for the Islamic Republic. You said they've been beating us up psychologically, making us look like a bunch of fools. One bullet shot of one of our men or ships, I'd do a number on Karg Island. I'd go in and I'd take it. Now here in 2026, you are president. Are you thinking about taking Karg Island, where 90% of the Iranian oil goes through? And what do you think about? Do you remember that interview and that school of thought?
Yeah, but Brian, I can't answer a question like that. You shouldn't ask it. And you shouldn't be even asking it. It's one of so many different things. It's not high on the list, but it's one of so many different things. And okay. I can change my mind in seconds. But, for you to ask a question, who would answer a question like that? I mean, you're asking me a question, Karg Island, okay, everything. Who would ask a question like that? And what fool would answer it, okay? Let's say I was going to do it, or let's say I wasn't going to do it. What would I tell you? Oh, yes, Brian, I'm thinking about doing it. Let me let you know what time and when it'll take place. It's not, it's sort of a foolish question. A little surprising for you because you're a smart man.
I am, but you were just pretty amazing that you thought about it in 1988. So,
well, I did, but I thought about a lot of other things. You know what else I thought about? A long time before it happened, 1 year before it happened, almost exactly, is Osama bin Laden. I said, you have to go out and kill Osama bin Laden. He's big trouble. Kill him.
Right.
Nobody did anything. A year later, he knocked down the World Trade Center.
Let's talk about China. It turns out...
Did you know that? It was in a book. Did you know that I wrote it in a book?
Yeah, I did.
One of my many bestsellers. I said, go get Osama bin Laden. He said, because I saw him interviewed. And I said, wow, that guy's trouble. And I said, you better go get him. And 1 year before he knocked down the World Trade Center, and you know that Clinton had a chance to get him?
Yep.
And didn't do it.
And he thought he would be accused of doing a wag the dog thing. Yep. And hey, I want to talk about China. Do you realize, and I'm sure you do, there have been very few overflights for the first time in maybe 5 or 6 years over Taiwan. The word is, too, there are long gas lines in China. Number one, those reports, as you understand them, correct? And number two, how do you think that affects your meeting that's coming up in a couple of weeks?
Well, the reports are correct about the long lines, but, look, he runs he's a strong person, a strong leader. I have a great relationship with him. I'm going over there in a very short period of time. I was invited, and I'm going. It's good that we get along. We're getting along very well. We're doing well economically with China. They want to do business with us. And, we've had a good relationship. It's highly competitive, obviously, but he and I have had a very good relationship. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. For all the people that are listening to your very highly rated show, which
yes.
it is, you're doing very well. I'm proud of you. But for all the people that are listening, it's good when I get along with other nations, the leaders of other nations. It's good. Powerful nation, powerful military. Nobody has our military. I built our military in my first term, and we're using it more than I'd like to now, to be honest with you, because I like peace through strength, but in this case, we had no choice. We had to close it out. 47 years they've been killing people. For 47 years they've been blowing their legs off. They've been, think of it, all that, the SS Cole, so many different things they were involved in, so many bad things, so many acts of terror. It had to be done. It should have been done long before this.
Mr. President, between 2023 and 2024, the DNI of Joe Biden said there were 190 attacks on U.S. forces or our allies by Iran. That was the department. That was the Director of National Intelligence for President Biden.
Right.
We had 241 in 1983, killed 603 in Iraq. Are you surprised with these stats that Democrats are so vehemently, seemingly against this mission, including some veterans like Senator Mark Kelly?
Well, Mark Kelly's not a smart person. I mean, he's not a smart man. He's terrible. What he said is terrible about, leadership, okay? Leadership, follow him. You follow him into a grave. He's terrible. He's a pathetic guy. But they're pathetic. Look, we have a case where our country right now is respected more than it has maybe ever been, with Venezuela, with the B-2s, with all of the different things we've done and all the great success we've had. And during all of this period, I've rebuilt the military into the strongest military in the world by far. We had great people, but the people were being led badly. And in fact, in many cases, being led through woke. Mm-hmm. And we don't have that anymore. We have an unbelievable power where our military is unquestionably the best and the strongest of the world. And I built it in my first term. This didn't just happen. I built it. We had $1 trillion, $1 trillion, another $1 trillion, and I built it and made it great. I built the wall, hundreds of miles of wall. Otherwise, you'd have people, no matter how good a job I'm doing, without the wall that we built, you'd have people pouring into our country at levels never seen before. Biden let 25 million people come into our country.
Right.
25 million people. And many of those people came out of jails and prisons, and they came out of mental institutions, and they were killers, and all of the things that we just discussed. And I'm doing something about it. And I had to take an excursion. We had the greatest economy in history. We still do. Oh, this will bounce right back. When it's over, and I don't think it's going to be long, when it's over, this is going to bounce right back. So fast.
When are you going to know when it's over?
When I feel it.
Okay.
I feel it in my bones.
Will you ask anybody in particular? Would that be some of a joint decision?
Well, I deal with people. I have great people. You know? I have General Raisin Kane. I have Pete. Pete's turned out to be a star. Marco's great. JD. I've got all good people. We've got a great group.
So let's talk about, if I can, looking back in history, George Shultz and Caspar Weinberger, two smart guys, disagreed in front of Reagan. Rumsfeld and Colin Powell disagreed in front of George W. Bush. In your cabinet, with the Vice President, Secretary of State, what is it like? What are the dynamics when you have a big decision like Iran or Venezuela? Are people speaking up and speaking their minds, even if...
I let them speak their mind, and they do, and we have some differences, but they never end up being much. I convince them all to let's do it my way.
So let's talk about immigration. Why is Senator John Wayne Mullen the right pick?
Just a fantastic guy. He's got it. He's got what it takes. I think he's going to do a fantastic job.
And when you talk about immigration, James Blair evidently told the caucus, the Republican caucus, don't talk about mass deportation. Story in Politico today said, hey, the president's allies want mass deportation. It rates really high with the people that put you there. Then you got farmers saying, hey, I need work visas for my longtime immigrants, and meatpackers saying the same thing. Where do you stand, Mr. President?
Well, number one, I stand, and we're getting the bad criminals, the murderers, and all these criminals that were allowed. Number one, that's a top priority. And the rest is all going to work out, and it's working out well. We've deported tremendous numbers of people, but we're going after the murderers. We're going after the drug dealers. We're going after the mentally insane and people from insane asylums, and we're bringing them back to where they came from because we have no choice. We won't have a country, and we're taking care of. We have really bad, really sick criminals that were allowed to come into our country under Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe. Right. And he allowed them to come into our country, and we're getting them out. That's number one priority. But we want people to come into our country legally. And nobody can say anything about Trump because we literally, for 8 months now, have had 0 people come through the border. And Biden had millions of people. Nobody checked.
Right.
Totally unchecked and unvetted.
I just, and I know you got to run, but the Save America Act, you told John Thune, get it done. Do you mean get Democrats, or do you mean blow up the filibuster? Because you need 60 votes, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get it done? Is there
an act? It's called the Save America Act, and it's exactly that. It's voter ID. It's proof of citizenship. It's no mail-in ballots, which are horrible. They're so corrupt. Jimmy Carter years ago said you can't do mail-in ballots. It's corrupt. We're the only country in the world that does mail-in ballots like this. We're the only country. There's no other country in the world because it means you cheat. They cheat. Now, it's mail-in, but for the military it's okay. For somebody that's sick or somebody that's disabled or for somebody that's traveling, you're on a business trip or even a trip, we'll be very, open about that. But I also added 2 other things, and I put them in just recently. It's 5 points. And very, very importantly, no men in women's sports, no transgender mutilization of our children.
In Texas,
so those 5 things.
Yeah.
How can you vote against voter ID and citizenship and the other things I said? And it should be done. And if it's not done, it's a shame. And I think, frankly, any politician that voted against, think of it. Every place you go, you give identification.
Yeah.
And I want picture identification, not just, we want pictures so that when they go in to vote, somebody standing there can say, oh, that is the same person, not that it's a totally different person, which they do. They cheat. The reason they don't want it is because they cheat. And you saw that in 2020. They cheated at levels never seen before, and now all of that's come out.
The DHS reopening, are the Democrats beginning to crack? I mean, they wanted Kristi Noem out. She's out. They wanted no more roving patrols. You stopped it. They wanted body cams. You gave it to them. Do you feel as though you've given enough at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Look, they have to. These are people that hate our country. These are people that have Trump derangement syndrome. If I went the opposite, if I said, let's have nothing, let's have this, let's give you everything you want, they'd say, nope, we don't want it. We want the opposite. Anything I say, they go the opposite. If I say build the wall, they say don't build the wall. No matter what I say, they go the opposite. Because they're sick, deranged people. They got a problem.
Do you think these attacks will change their mind?
Disease. It's called Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think these new attacks today will change their mind? I mean, I
don't think so, because I think there's something wrong with them. The hatred of Republicans is beyond belief. Who wouldn't vote for voter ID? Who wouldn't want that? Voter identification.
Right.
Please, may I see your card, sir or madam? May I please see your card? And they say, we don't want you to do that. And yet every other, I wrote a list, but it was too long to go into. But I wrote a list that had 50 things that you need identification for. Everything. It's like everything.
But
it's like almost
but outside Fetterman, can you get
voting.
it? But say outside Fetterman, I don't think any Democrat would do it. And even though the polls show over 70% of Democrats want voter ID on every ethnic group.
Today, 86% of Democrats approve of Save America. Now, think of it. They're going to have to go out and say, we are opposed to Save America. It's called the Save America Act. They had a hard time with MAGA, Make America Great Again. Remember when Biden would get up and say, we have to stop MAGA. We will stop MAGA. We have to stop MAGA. The poor guy. And I said, no, MAGA means Make America Great Again. He wants to stop it. Now they have the Save. It's not the Save Act, by the way. All these people that use Save Act, those are people that are on the other side. It's the Save America, because nobody knows what the Save Act was. Nobody has any idea. The stupid name, the Save Act, and they used that for 2 years. It's called the Save America Act.
Marketing.
5 points, and I just named the 5 points.
And lastly, the Texas election. You said you got to make a choice on what Republican should really get the nomination.
Right.
Is it going to be Cornyn or is it going to be Paxson? What do you think?
Well, let me tell you the good news. The good news is their candidate is whacked out with his 6 different forms of gender and all the things that I saw. The insult to Jesus. I mean, such an insult. This guy is whacked out. And, it's very interesting. They had no fear of her because she's a low IQ individual. But they really waited. The Republicans waited. They really wanted to run against him because they had these things, and nobody knew they had them. And all this bad stuff came out about him. He is so woke. He's beyond woke. He's actually I think he's grossly incompetent. I think Gavin Newsom is incompetent. I think he's an incompetent person. And he admitted it. I mean, he admitted that he's incompetent. And, when a guy does that, but when you see what this guy said about gender and about other topics, and the amazing thing, it all came out one day after he defeated
Tallarico.
Right.
Yeah.
He defeated Crockett.
So do you think that Paxton or Cornyn?
Related it all to Davy Crockett, do you think?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to do a DNA. I don't know if she's due a 23andMe, but we could look into it. Paxton.
Check it out.
I will.
I think Davy would be honored.
I have a lot of free time.
Great frontiers.
So you're going to stay out of the primary then? Paxton, Cornyn?
No, I'm not going to say it. No, I want to do something. But the main thing I have to do is find out who's going to get the Save America Act approved.
Well, I guess Senator John Thune's kind of at a logjam.
Yeah, I know. Look, I think he's a wonderful person. I do. But he seems to be, not that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't think he can do it. And that's bad. I mean, how can you not get voter ID approved? How can you not get, citizenship approved? Proof of citizenship.
Listen,
that's all we're asking for.
I hear you. And lastly, is it true that you're telling your whole cabinet to wear the same shoes, these Florsheim shoes?
No, but it's a nice shoe. But what I do is, as somebody that for many, many years has walked around in shoes that were no good and, would not be that comfortable. So I have fun with it. When they tell me they have a problem, I say, let me get you a pair of shoes. And it seems to work out pretty well. Now they look all spiffy and nice. I never like cabinet members walking in sneakers.
Right.
Sneakers are wonderful, but I don't want my cabinet members wearing sneakers. So I'll get them a pair of shoes. It's a gift from Donald Trump.
That's cool. You could write it off, too, at the end of the year with this with your new tax reform.
I don't have to write it off. You're right. I guess I could, but I don't have to. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, I can't thank you enough. Lastly, are you enjoying this with all the pressure on your shoulders?
We're doing great. I had to do this excursion through a very tough kind of a thing to do, except it shows how strong. I knew exactly that would be good. And wait till you see tomorrow, wait till you see the next day. They're going to be hit so hard. They're going to be hit. They can talk all they want, but, let's see what they do. So they're going to maybe do something having to do with the Straits. I don't know. But they're being hit so hard. It'll take them 20 years to rebuild.
You think Putin is helping them?
I think he might be helping them a little bit, yeah, I guess. And he probably thinks we're helping Ukraine, right?
And you are, right?
Yeah, we're helping them also. And so he says that. And China would say the same thing. It's like, hey, they do it and we do it, in all fairness. They do it and we do it.
The only thing that I know that matters to the First Lady is...
I'll tell you one thing with Ukraine.
What?
They have to pay for everything, and they pay through NATO. When they buy missiles from us, when they buy anything from us, it goes not to them, it goes to NATO, and NATO pays the bill.
Are they helping us with drone defense, too?
No, we don't need the help in drone defense. No, we do. We know more about drones than anybody. We have the best drones in the world, actually.
Mr. President, best of luck these next few days. We'll be watching every moment, and thanks so much for your time.
Good, and thank you for your support. You've been great. You've been really doing a good job, Brent. Thanks a lot.